Come with me for some sponsored travel to see date harvest with Natural Delights. We're flying to Phoenix before driving to Yuma to eat some of the freshest dates you can possibly get your hands on. I'll show you the entire process from tree to table as dates are harvested, processed, packed, and shipped. This is part travel vlog, part behind the scenes farm tour, so meet me at the airport and let's get going. All right, so the thing you have to remember about flying through Kansas City is that no matter what time of day it is, the entire terminal is gonna smell like barbecue. And it's only about 10 in the morning right now, so I'm not quite feeling up for barbecue just yet, but I definitely need to eat something because of the timing of this flight. I'm flying into Phoenix, which is where I'll meet up with the rest of the group for the sponsored tour, and I'm really excited. This is the first one I've been invited to for a minute, and the only disappointment I have, to be honest, is the fact that right now I'm able to wear a jacket because this is the most perfect fall weather that Kansas City ever gets. You know, it's not humid, every day is beautiful, and I'm essentially going to be trading that in for peak summer. So here's a look at the forecast, and I had to really think about what I was going to pack for this one, but I'm going to grab an iced coffee and head to my gate, and the next time you see me, we'll be in Phoenix. We made it. We're here in Phoenix and you're joining me in my hotel room, and we have a little bit of time to kill, so I'm gonna try and get some work done before dinner tonight, but I grabbed a late lunch. I was feeling super hungry getting off the flight and had time to check out the swag bag that they gave us. You probably saw on our agenda we have a really early wake up time tomorrow because yeah, like it's gonna be hot. We know that, and it is what it is, but we're gonna try and leave as early as possible to get down there. I think it's about a 3-hour drive. So yeah, trying to get out there to see all of the action with date harvest before it gets really miserable out there. So I'm looking forward to that, and of course dinner tonight, which is where we'll get to meet up with the entire group, meet some new people, and see some familiar faces, which I'm really excited about, have a great meal, and then yeah, my plan is to just go to bed really early. I'm kind of a night owl, so hopefully the time difference means that I'll be tired around the time that I actually need to go to bed because yeah, like 4:30 a.m. is gonna come super quick. We're back in the air conditioning. I love air conditioning. And dinner was lovely. We sat on the patio in the back of the hotel and enjoyed a really great meal. Was super excited to see some dietitian friends that I haven't seen for a long time, as well as some food bloggers that I know, and then a lot of new people. So one thing that's gonna make this brand tour a little bit different from the ones that I've been on in the past is, first of all, the size. Like there's just a lot more people here, but also everyone's background. So most of the ones that I've been on in the past have either been, you know, like super hyper focused on dietitians. It'll just be me, the host, and other dietitians. And then I've been on some that have been a little bit bigger, and it's blended with, you know, dietitians as well as food bloggers and maybe some folks from the press or the media. And on this one, we actually have all of that, plus some folks from the retail side and the sales side, and there's a decent amount of international folks that have flown literally halfway around the world to be here for date harvest. So it'll be really interesting, I think, to get to know some of their backgrounds and just why we're all so interested in being here to learn more. We have a really early wake-up call, so I am going to wash my face, get these contacts out, and head to bed so that I can get hopefully a few hours of really decent sleep, given the time zone change and the fact that, you know, we had a couple drinks at dinner. I am super excited to see these date trees up close and personal. This is not anything I've ever seen before or even like would be able to see. Like they only grow in a really specific type of climate and environment. So really excited to be able to show you as well, and I don't know, maybe get up in a date tree and eat one fresh. So stick around and we'll see you in the morning. Good morning. Welcome back. I'll be honest, I didn't sleep the best. I feel like when I have these really early wake up calls, I have this anxiety that I'm gonna like miss my alarm. So I was kind of up and actually woke up before my alarm, so I just stayed up. But yeah, we're all packed up and ready to head down to the lobby to load up the buses. So let's head out. So here is my first look at a medjool date palm. And maybe it's your first look too. I mean, did you have any idea dates grow on palm trees like this? I was completely unaware prior to this, but it was so cool stepping off the bus and right into the middle of a forest of palm trees. We had a few minutes to just take in the views and fill up our water bottles, then we jumped right into the good stuff. And by good stuff, I mean tasting a date that was picked literally minutes before we got there. We were briefed on the bus about the growing and harvest process so we'd know what to expect, and while the first half of the group got their chance to go up into the trees, the rest of us stayed down below to learn more. I learned that medjool dates have a really interesting history, and I'm going to share the super short version with you. Dates are the oldest cultivated fruit with a nearly 6,000 year history, and modern medjool dates can trace their origins to a small set of shoots from Morocco where the trees were hit hard by disease. In an effort to save them, a small group of shoots were brought to the western United States in the 1940s. Half of them were sent to the Coachella Valley, and half of them came to the Yuma area in the Bard Valley where we were. It was pretty successful, and 2 of those original trees remain standing as of today. That's because this region has the ideal growing conditions for dates, with 100 days over 100 degrees, a dry climate with little to no humidity, but enough water to support the trees with minimal irrigation. But growing and harvesting dates is an incredibly labor-intensive process, requiring multiple trips into the treetops to tend to the fronds, prepare the pollen for setting fruit, thin out the strands, cover them with mesh bags to protect from birds and pests, and finally start to harvest the ripe dates in late summer. After taking all of this in, it was finally our turn to get harnessed up and into the lifts. Date palms can be more than 40 feet high, and safety is obviously incredibly important to keep the farm workers as safe as possible. Harvesting can only be done by hand in these uniquely designed lifts, dispensing the dates out of mesh bags and sorting them onto color-coded trays according to which farm grew them. A single tree can yield up to 200 pounds of dates, not counting any that are discarded for defects or just not being ripe enough. And the date industry is making an effort to be more sustainable, finding creative ways to use the culled or discarded dates for animal feed. Right now, research teams are working on a strategy to combat the Fusarium bacteria in lettuce fields by applying a high sugar content slurry made with dates, and the pits can also be repurposed into tubs to help reduce plastic use. This was all very cool to see firsthand and gave a whole new appreciation for why dates are so expensive. It's such a labor-intensive process, and the harvest crews were moving non-stop. After seeing all of this, we piled back onto the bus for a lunch break at the River City Grill in Yuma before a team competition to make date bark. This is apparently one of the newest trends for using dates, where you spread them out, top them with your favorite ingredients, freeze them, and then break them apart for a sweet snack. On the savory side of things, we also got to try the brand new date strips with chili lime, and if you're a fan of chamoy or chamoy covered candy, you're going to love these. And although I wasn't on the winning team, I think everyone really enjoyed this group activity. We have successfully made it through our massive group check-in for hotel number 2. We're staying at the 4 Points in Yuma. This is a pretty new hotel, so the room is really nice. For those of you who know me, you know I'm a Marriott girly. I love my points, so really grateful that they're letting us use that. Sometimes they don't always do that, but if you have any kind of loyalty membership, I think when you go on these brand tours, it's always worth asking, like, hey, can I give them my number and like get the credit for this night or get the points for this night or whatever. We have a little bit of time. There's a couple of emails that I have to send out because even though, you know, I'm technically not in the office and I'm not working, the rest of the world still is. So I need to catch up on that. Definitely need to shower. I can just feel like the sunscreen, all of the dust has just been like caked on. So I'm feeling really grimy, just excited to take a shower and clean up a little bit. And at that point, maybe I'll come back and share a few more updates about what we still have left, because yeah, it's like hard to believe we've done so much stuff and this is still only day 1, like not even the whole day 1. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I will be back as soon as I look a little bit more camera ready than this. And just like that, we are all cleaned up and parked right in front of the air conditioner again. And I know I said I was probably gonna give you a little more of an update about everything we did today and whatnot, but plans have actually changed. And I think this is a really common thing that happens on these brand trips, because while, yes, you know, they do schedule out your entire day as far as where to be and when, they also will usually give you a little bit of downtime. And that's so you can get a little bit of work done, which I did, so that you can rest or take a nap, which I wanted to, but I did not. Or you can just do anything else you want to do in the time you have available. So I know there's a group of other dietitians and some food bloggers that are planning on meeting up at the hotel bar for a little bit of a happy hour before we have to load up the buses again. And I thought that sounded like a great idea. I spend the vast majority of my time working alone, so this is one of the few times I'm in the same place at the same time with other people that are just fun to hang out with. So there's really nothing more to it than that. Enjoy the scenes from the night. Good morning and welcome to day 3. I was so tired after dinner last night. I just came back to the room, went straight to bed to get as much sleep as I possibly could. My body just needed it, but had a great time at dinner. We had a grower at our table who shared a lot more about the story of his family and how they got into the date business in the first place, which was really cool to hear. And then today we are actually heading to the packing facilities. So these words pretty much mean nothing to both of us right now, but Date Pack East and Date Pack West, where we'll get to see the next step in the process after the dates are harvested from the trees. They're brought to these facilities and we'll get to see what takes place there before they ever go on to us at the grocery store. So we've been told a really specific dress code because obviously food safety and, you know, all of that is a top concern. So we're wearing long pants, closed-toed shoes. I will probably have to pull this hair back later. They'll probably give us a hat or a hairnet of some kind. No jewelry, especially rings, because they don't want that falling or, you know, getting mixed in with any of the dates that might potentially end up getting packed and sent out. But you'll be along with me for the whole ride, so let's get going. So this was a really rare thing to be able to film as much as I did inside the facility, because usually they'll ask us to hold off on all photos or videos, but Natural Delights is super transparent and they said, yeah, sure, film any part of this process. So here I am getting all prepped in my lovely hairnet before we make our way to the sorting line. Dates are graded according to how much moisture they have, and the goal was to separate grade 2, which are ready to pack, from grade 3, 4, and 5, which either need more time to dry or will get processed as something other than whole dates. We were encouraged to feel the difference because, yep, the first thing we did was attempt to sort. I want you to imagine doing this for a full work shift, then turn around and do it again day after day. That's what these employees do for the entire date harvest season before they transition into harvesting lettuce and leafy greens, then broccoli or cauliflower, then back to dates. It is not easy work by any means. From here, the ready-to-pack dates are sent on while the rest are transferred into these giant warehouse rooms. They basically replicate the environment at the top of a date palm tree. These rooms can hold up to 50,000 pounds of dates each, and this helps bring down the moisture to about 17 to 22%. And at that point, they can withstand the jostling around for the packing process. While these rooms require energy input, there's also a more passive greenhouse drying method that blows hot air through the pallet stacks. I was definitely feeling the heat in here, but honestly, for as worried as I was about how hot it would be, it truly was not that bad. What's really cool is that just steps beyond the processing facility is another bunch of date palm trees, and dates make their way through the field to the sorting line within 24 hours of being picked. Everything starts to move really fast at this point as the dates move down these long conveyor belts. They're given a quick rinse, which removes about 98% of any remaining dust or debris. Then they're sorted by size and weight, and it's amazing how fast this machinery is able to do it accurately. I mean, just look at how fast this is moving. These little cups will tip over to dump the date out onto the proper conveyor belt, and it will run like this around the clock. Depending on which orders or retailers they're packing for, the dates are sorted into the proper categories and portioned out with this giant hopper. Many things are automated, but some jobs at this point are still done by hand. The packages are sealed and verified for weight, then carefully labeled for traceability purposes. Dates that don't make the cut are destined for what the industry calls a value-added product, such as these mini medules. They're smashed into a date paste, then frozen and either mixed with other ingredients or rolled in coconut to create this really yummy snack. We got to try one fresh off the line and it tasted so good. Dates have a shelf life of up to 1 year, so while the dates you buy at the grocery store aren't quite this fresh, they are guaranteed to be safe, delicious, and nourishing no matter how you like to eat them. And just like that, we are back in the Phoenix airport. I am in the Southwest Terminal waiting at my gate, getting ready to board my flight back home to Kansas City. And I just want to thank you so much for joining me as I've spent the last few days in Arizona. This was such a quick synopsis of a really, really busy time. You saw how much we tried to pack into a really short agenda, but I have learned a ton, and I hope this has really taught you a lot more about a really cool ingredient. Dates just have such an interesting story behind them, and as you saw, there's so much technology and innovation and just really cool stuff that helps them go from the tree to the grocery store. So I think as I share just a few final thoughts before we wrap things up, it's really that I think it's always so impressive how much care and attention goes into growing our food and creating food that nourishes us in so many delicious ways. I think out of all the tours I've been on, that's always been such a strong takeaway, especially after talking to the growers or the different employees that are working in the processing plant. Like, this is hard work. I think you saw from just the speed of how fast those lines are moving or how quickly they have to get the dates out of the trees when the timing is right. This work is not easy, and it just makes me feel really grateful for all of the human work and effort that goes into feeding us. So I hope this has been just as interesting for you, especially if dates are an ingredient that you love to cook with or eat at home. I'd love to hear from you. So if you have a favorite recipe, share it in a comment below or drop a link to one of your favorite recipe creators, because I am definitely excited to get back in the kitchen, stock up my pantry, and try to incorporate these as often as possible now that I've learned so much more about them. And if you enjoy content like this, be sure to subscribe, because I hope to be able to do more things like this in the future and be able to share them in the video format with you. So subscribe, hit the like button, and be sure to follow along. This channel is the home of Fearlessly Nourishing Meals, and I hope to see you here again for another video very soon. Thanks so much for watching.